Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good to see you. We are a couple minutes late, but there are signal issues. So I'm hearing there's a storm somewhere, there's a flood somewhere, but it's impacting the signal. So please bear with us tonight. If we fade in and out, if I go in and out, it's just a signal. Black Dave, CBN is in the background working the channels. So he'll do his part to keep us streaming and going. But just wanted to tell you up front that there may be some delay. I'm Dr. Nakumbi. Welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, breaking the cycle. Coach K will not be with us tonight. She had an urgent matter come up, so we wish her well and safe. Hopefully she'll be here next week. So bear with us again, but it was an emergency, so hopefully she will be okay. Her and her family, wish her well. Let's see who's here in the chat. And we may actually have a special guest. We're trying to work again with the signal and try and get up someone tonight who's also talking about goal setting and keeping it real. I believe all of you already know her, Embrace the Grace. So Embrace the Grace. We're trying to get her on. Again, signal. She was here for a second, so please bear with us. She may pop back up. Meanwhile, let's see who's here. And I'm in one of those moods tonight. Talking crazy, having fun. So let's make it happen. And do. All right. So we have in the house. Boom. Blackman's Unfiltered. And so please hit the like button once you arrive. And if you listen to the replay, please hit the like button on your way in and or out. And if you like the content and you have not subscribed yet, please do so. Please do so. So tonight is part 2, let's say 1.5, because next week, Coach K, we were still cooking about setting goals. Not so much New Year's resolutions, but actually setting goals and being successful at it. But I know lately I've been listening on the YouTube streets here and hearing lots about New Year's resolutions and setting goals. And 24 is going to be the year. 2024 is the year. Now I believe it, but they say nothing changes if nothing changes. Now, I've been saying that for a long time, but I know Sister Sheila. Bravo Sheila, that's one of her lines. She makes it very clear, nothing changes if nothing changes. So I'm wondering how people are going to make all this 2024 magic happen without really changing anything. It's like the brothers who say they're going to go overseas. They're going to go overseas, and then another week you see them here talking from here about they're going to go overseas, and they're done with the sisters and they're going to go overseas, but then yet they're still here. Nothing happens if nothing happens. But the passport application process takes a while, so I get it. They may be in the process. But I'm just curious how 2024 is going to be the year of magic if nobody's putting no potions together. In other words, you're not putting in the work. Not putting in the work, you're going to get the same as 2023, minus worldview things, so pending what our government does this year, we'll be part of that. Pending what blah, blah, blah does this year, we'll be part of that. But you changing, I don't see how that's going to happen. Anyway, again, welcome to the stream. We have Scam Likely in the house. Dust, what's going on with you, sir? And if you have a few minutes and want to jump up, please do. See if you here. If you like I said, if you have a few minutes, want to jump up, and CBN, if you could coordinate that link with Scam, that'd be great. So anyway, the goals. So we know 2024 is here. It's winter time. Pending where you live in the country, still either a little bit warm or it's cold. And this is when people say they're going to lose weight, they're going to create goals, they're going to start making money. Some people will move. You're going to go from New Jersey to Alaska, right? But the question is, what do you think is going to go with you? to Alaska. Those same behaviors, same attitude, same person, same character, all that goes with you to Alaska. So you might be in a new environment, same person, same core beliefs, same attitude, same promises, same talk. So the only thing that will really change is the weather, location. If you have a problem with people, you're still going to have a problem with people. If you have a problem with business, business problems are really personal problems in disguise. I'll say it again for those in the back, and I learned this from my coach, Dr. Deb Legge. Business problems are personal problems in disguise. If you have a hard time asking your clients for money, that's not just a business problem. You personally have a problem asking for money. If you do horrible with paperwork and organizing and all that business, that is not just a business problem. That is a personal problem with organization, procrastination, and whatever else in disguise. And think about it. Think about it. It follows you. It is part of you. Now, if you work for a business, you work for an organization, you might not have to rely on all of those parts. So in other words, you may not have to do the door knocking. So if you're really shy, not a people's person, but you can crunch numbers, well, it appears that you've been successful with working your job / business. But when you go behind the scenes and you yourself actually have to run the business, it's not the same, because now you have to do some door knocking or whatever that part of the process is. And if you don't know how to do it, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, you can always hire. Absolutely. You can hire out, contract. You can find ways to get it done. But please know the difference between when you work for someone and you can operate your part of the job and actually running the business. Once again, business problems are personal problems in disguise. Relationship problems. Relationship problems are personal problems in disguise. Now, if it's entertainment or not, please know the difference between when you know how to guide someone, how to lead someone, how to encourage, support, motivate, or if you just have control. If you have control, you could be as reckless as you want with the motivating, encouraging, and all that, because they're just a bobblehead. They're a bobblehead. They do what you say, what you ask, full compliance. But is that real control? And then, what happens if you are unable to control? So if you rule by an iron fist, and if one day your fist is not so irony, right? One day your fist is not so irony, will you still have control? If you notice people who don't really have control, how they switch up and they use other methods to either intimidate, squash, mash, pound, hurt, whatever, not just physical. I don't mean physical. I mean a way to shrink the other person so they maintain control. I was just chatting the other day on the BMU network. I believe it was on Tuesday. And I said, they were talking about isolation. Isolation. In the jails, when I work in the jail, you can take a 400-pound person, big old brother, big old, strong. I'm talking about muscles, whatever you want to call it, and lock them in a room for a certain amount of time. You start hearing them sniffles. And each person is different. Some can do an hour, 4 hours, a couple of days. But that isolation it'll work a number on the brain. And as strong as we are, if you don't keep this in control, if you don't keep this healthy, it won't matter how big you are, how small you are, how much you know of martial arts, and how well you can shoot a gun or any of those things. You have to keep that mind healthy. And if you can't control yourself, you definitely won't be able to control a partner. Now, that word, when I say partner, because I just talked about business, now relationship. So if you have a partner that's in a relationship with you, as the guys were saying the other day on the network, I agree with them. Then you're going to get partner-like relationship quality. So in other words, a partner understands duties that are probably equal to or in agreement of, whereas a person who's with you by duty, I want to be clear, a person who's with you by duty, who understands the assignment. Now we can partner and we can agree to what that assignment is, but then there's the natural duty. Okay, so one side is marriage. I would say marriage comes with a natural duty because marriage looks different for each couple, each culture, each whatever you want to call it. Then you definitely want to understand what those duties are. If you don't believe in marriage, that's cool. But even the title of boyfriend, girlfriend, man, woman, whatever you want to call it, a partner, not partners, whatever you want to call those roles other than partner, they will still come with a natural duty. And I would say come with a timeline. If you listen to what we know podcast, so JT, I love when JT says this. Marriage, what is the reward? I'm not talking about day to day. The end game. And we're talking about passing away, death, till death do us part. So the end game, one of you or both of you, however it works out, will move on. When I talk about a timeline with other relationships, if you go by titles and words, boyfriend and girlfriend, there's no death to do us part. Boy, friend, girl, friend. So you could still be together forever till death do you part. But I'm talking about the duty, expectations. We already know legally there's some things you can do and you can't do. Legally, there's some things you can do and can't do. Fiance, depending where you live, fiance comes with a few benefits. You can sign a power of attorney, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't know all the states, but I know this from experience in Ohio, that if a person's in the hospital and you are their next of kin, and that person is not married, the next of kin has legal say so, medical say so. But if you have a fiance, at least what I was told, the fiance could actually have power of attorney and even trump like a mother, father, next of kin. And that was in Ohio. If that's accurate or not, I think it was some shady business with the hospital, but that's Ohio. So some states, the fiance. So notice we still have different levels. Husband, wife, fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend. You talk about relationship goals. Are you able to accomplish those goals at those levels? Something for you to think about. The couples who I see, sometimes I hear them tell me, I don't owe you shit. I don't have to do a goddamn thing. I'm not your wife. I'm not your husband. I find it interesting because the sex, the fun, the activities all look the same. The taking care of each other looks the same, but the commitment, why not the commitment? Why not the commitment? Now, tonight, I'm not here to push marriage, but I'm just asking, why not the commitment? I know in a couple of months, some of you are going to be trying to get committed. It's tax season. Quit playing. I know some of y'all are going to be trying to connect and sign dotted lines and agreements and all that, and your kids and my kids, and it's my turn with the kids and the neighbor's kids, and trying to hook it all up for the taxes. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Scam, what's up? He's at the gym working out right now. No worries. Appreciate you. And again, those who are coming in tonight on the replay, please hit the like button. I'm just here shooting the breeze with you. And CBN's in the network in the back, and he says we do have some technical difficulties. So if we fade out of something, just hang in there with us, please. All right. I want to increase my level of entertainment here. I want to bring up a couple of topics, a couple of ideas, because we're talking about 2024. So this is an election year here in the States. It's an election year. Do you know who you're voting for? I'm not asking you I'm not asking you, but I'm asking, do you know? Do you know who you're voting for? Half the people don't even know who they're voting for. They don't even know who's running. Do you know who's running? Do you have a particular side you're interested in? Democrat, Republican, Independent? Do you even know? Some people don't care about politics. I get it. Some people don't care. Some do. But then next year and the year after that or whatever, when you're like, man, this is messed up. And why is so-and-so? And you didn't participate and you didn't vote and you didn't, again, you know you best in your politics. But when it comes to having voice, we get upset if we can't have a certain movie or show on Netflix. We know how to speak up about that. I bet if you asked for $5 of gas, there was a time you could ask for $5 of gas. But if you were asking for $5 on pump 10 and they stopped it at $4.50, would you know how to go in and articulate, you shut the pump too soon? So the things that we want is where I'm getting at. The things that we want, we know how to speak up for. Do you know how to also do that for the things that you might need, such as a political year? Are you getting out there and asking for what you need to your local government, to the bigger government, all that? But again, my focus is not so much government as much as it is the focus on you asking, being able to ask for what you want this year. Do you even know your value? Do you know your value? If you were to apply for a job, are you the type that states the level of income that you want? Do you know how to state? Do you know how to put in a request? Do you know how to say, hey, this is what I believe my value is. This is what I want. This is what I expect for pay. Or do you just, okay, whatever they offer. Okay, I'll take it. Okay. Something for you to think about. Do you know your value? Do you know it? And do you know how to articulate it? Do you know how to articulate it? Something to think about. Because if you're talking about advancing, and you don't know your value, you're only going to advance as far as you believe your value to be. You are only going to advance as far as you believe your value to be. Parenting. Your kids are only going to advance as far as the value you believe you are and the value you pump into them. The value that you believe you are and the value worth and the value that you pump into them, that's how far they'll go. That's how far they will go. And if you're yelling at them daily, you're a piece of shit and you're a piece of that and you're crazy and you're dumb, and don't be surprised if they live that out. If that's how they live, because that's what they've been told and they believe. BMU, you probably have heard him a few times. If not, hopefully you have. You heard him a few times talk about sports. His children are engaged. He has family time. Mr. Bennett on here talks about family time. Okay, quite a few people on the network here talk about family time and what they want to do with their kids and their teens, what they want to teach them. And you hear things like spend time together, talk, conversations. If you attend the barbershop, no, it wasn't the barbershop, but I remember one time Mr. Bennett and I, we talked about, hey, at what point do you have the conversations about sex with your adolescent? It's a good question. But see, to be able to talk and have those conversations with men first, with people first, your crew, your inner circle, family, someone you trust, to be able to have that conversation, so you can then have the conversation with your children. And someone else asked, at what point do you like bypass your parent? I mean, as far as growth, the old gangsters, when they say you are now at the point where you can lead, we want you to lead, take over. So at what point do you and your child, we talked about that on the network here, at what point do you pass your child? But if you believe your value is only here and your kid is growing past you, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're not nothing, you cannot blame the kid because they grew. You cannot blame the kid because they grew, because you believe that you have no value. Same thing in a romantic relationship. When you first meet, you might be up here a little bit and you're leading. In fact, if you're a first stepper, You know what I mean? Like you help build, and all of a sudden they start passing you. They pass you. And then they look at you like, wow, how am I supposed to respect you? Because you didn't grow with me. You stayed here. You had all this value, helped to grow. They passed you, and now, and so guess what? That relationship fizzles out. You get another one where you're here and they're there. You help them grow. That relationship fizzles out. Then you repeat the cycle. You must increase your own value if you want to get the level of respect that you want, especially when we're talking about children who are going to grow past you. Technology. My parents don't know technology like I know it, and I'm not going to know it at the point where my kids are, at some point where Dad, I don't know what that is. And it might be too intimidating. Remember parents who went from the rotary phone to now that big Motorola? And then the big Motorola to the flip, and then the flip to the new iPhones and stuff? For some of them, it's a culture shock. Some rolled with it. Some were able to roll with it. And other folks were like, yeah, I don't know what that is. They're gonna get into my account. A cloud? What a cloud? What's a cloud? My dad is going to be in the cloud? No, I don't want it in the closet. Cloud? No, I'm good because of not understanding. Doesn't mean that person doesn't have any value, but if the world is shifting and they say this is what your value is, this is what we consider to be value now up here, and you choose, that's the tricky part. You choose to stay here. You have some decisions to make because the world will move without you. Time will move without you. Trust me, it will move without you. Now, some will shame you into it. If you don't get one of these new, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're just going to be left behind. And, that's another hope. That's an entirely different feeling right there. Like, wow, they're not motivated to catch up on times because they believe in it. They want it. They're interested. They're only shifting because of feeling pressure, shame, guilt. So there might be a shift. So my question is, if they shifted because Pops, Grandma, I'm trying to tell you, you're not going to be able to talk to me. You don't have no FaceTime. What's that thing? I don't have no FaceTime. And the grandparent switches because they trust you, but because they feel pressure. How long do you think they can sustain the excitement for the devices, for the future, for the whatever it is? How long do you think they can sustain it? Any of us, if it's not authentic. And I don't mean like you can't put some pressure, like I don't want to confuse the words. It's not that you can't do some heavy influencing. Listen, I'm trying to tell you, Grandma, you have to, they're not going to service that anymore. Sprint is not even going to service that anymore. So if that's what you're trying to do, Grandma, that's not going to work. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm trying to help you. So that support, it may sound harsh, but the kind where you're shaming the person, you're stupid, Grandma, if you think somebody's going to, okay. So my point is, if you use that method, you just have to think of how long they could sustain it, because they never wanted to change. They only changed because of your heavy, so to speak. Lady Navoa, what's going on? How are you doing? Crystal Light's in the house. Hello. Marcus Antonia's in the house. Welcome, everyone. Mr. G1804 is in the house. Welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Breaking the cycle. As you can see, Coach K is not with us tonight. She had an emergency, so please bear with her. We send prayers out to her and her family. You have me tonight, and I'm just doing free flow, still centered around goal setting. And I'm in one of those moods where I am talking a little shit tonight too, just because I want to have some fun with it. My whole idea is, 2024 is here. People say they're going to change. This is the year. This is the year. This is the year. But nothing changes if nothing changes. Shout out to Pastor Sheila. So, if you have questions, throw them up in the chat. Don't forget to hit the like button. And so far, I was talking about personal problems, if you don't know how to adjust and you still have these personal problems, they will show up in your business, and business problems are personal problems in disguise. And your romantic relationships, if you have personality issues, is going to show up in your relationship. So relationship issues are personal issues in disguise. Family, so you have a lot of conflict in the family, stuff going on. You can say, that's not me, that's them. But we all play a role. We all play a role. So therefore, family problems are also personal problems in disguise. Interpersonal meaning it could be friends, family, but person to person. If you seem to have a friend, lose a friend. Have a friend, lose a friend. You can talk all the shit you want about how messed up they are. They don't understand. They're fucked up. They don't understand. They're just stupid. They're stupid. But why do you keep connecting with the stupid people? Why do you coincidentally, conveniently keep connecting with the stupid people? Why do you keep cycling through these relationships and friendships? At some point, we have to look in the mirror and figure out what the you part is. We all bring a percentage to every relationship. So interpersonal problems are personal problems in disguise. I want to challenge the group here for a moment. No doubt. I was going to ask Coach K this tonight when we were talking, and I'll ask her next week as well. I was going to ask her because we were talking about creating goals and then taking the steps because you want to be successful with it. And starting with the why. Why am I even creating this goal? And so my question and the challenge and the pushback to anyone is, why are you creating goals? Do you even need to create them, or are you just following the leader? Yeah, do you need to? Do you need to? And if you need to, why? 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 Is it based on what you want or what someone else wants? Based on what you want or someone else wants? Up here, there should be a balance of shame, constructive criticism, and reinforcement, positive, negative, because unfortunately, society is soft, so soft, and throwing pills and putting diagnosed labels so loosely. Absolutely. But you know, we are contributing to that. Society contributes to that. When you're watching the show and they throwing words out like they have high anxiety, and you watch all the social media and yeah, they're delusional, and we're throwing out diagnoses, we're introducing, we're suggesting, we're encouraging that people have all these diagnoses and stuff. So then they go to the doctors, they go to the people who double down and say, there you go, there are your pills. So I agree, we've gotten soft, but we actually contribute to that by making all these announcements about people being diagnosed that are not diagnosed. Anxiety by itself is not a mental illness. But we push it until now we have a society where, I have anxiety. Boom. I have anxiety. Get the fuck out. Do you know what anxiety is? It is natural. If I push you in a cage with a bunch of lions or snakes, be prepared to shake, twitch, sweat, and shit yourself. Now, for those of you who can handle it, because there's always one in the crowd, there's always one who could say, I could be in there with 20 lions and 40 snakes. They can lick my ass. I'll be fine. So for those of you who can handle that, great. But anxiety will show up in our lives naturally. One is disordered when it gets to the point that you cannot function. It impacts your ability to function. That's when we start getting into the mental health side of things. Same way, I just want to say, I agree with you, Marcus. I agree with you. Sensitivities, soft medications, but it's just reinforced. Everywhere you look, it is reinforced. It is reinforced. Weed. Now, before people get upset, don't talk about my weed. Smoke, puff, do what you need to do. But that is also society saying we have to have the gummies, the weed. We have to have. So as much as we might say the country and the society is soft, there's a good number of people contributing to that. You have to have the weed. Yeah. Oh, it relaxes me. It does this to me. I have to have it. 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 Okay. So we can't even function without weed. And I'm not talking about the people who need it medically. Clearly, the people who need it for medical reasons need it for medical reasons. I'm talking about the people who need the recreational marijuana because they might have anxiety. It's rough. So give me the weed. Crystal Light, what's up? Marcus, yep. It's in our human nature. People correlate anxiety with adrenaline. Nice, correct. Sounds like addiction. Yes. Now, there's a debate. Is marijuana, weed, addictive? And if it's a natural plant, so on and so on. Alcohol is legal. Is it addictive? And Mr. Bennett was asking, about addiction last week. Just to retouch on that. The addiction part is when it's impacting your ability to function. The tolerance level. You used to be able to handle just a couple of whatever, and now you must have. Like you get physically sick if you don't get up to that next level. And the body can only handle so much, depending what the product is. It can only handle so much, and then because your withdrawal to it, if you try and stop, the whole world is rocked. Now we're in the addiction area. We're in that addiction zone because the tolerance has changed, the withdrawal ability has changed. It impacts the functioning. Can't get up, can't drive, can't do this, won't do that. That's when it becomes a problem. And whenever I ask someone, even with the recreational weed, can you stop for a month? Two weeks? No. Just 2 weeks? Can't. No. So they'll deny it. I'm not addicted. That's what we call addiction. But anyway, I don't want to focus on the product. If people use, they use. But please understand, the same way I say the M&Ms, Pringles, or any type of food, or any of us that talk about women or relationships have to have me somebody, have to have somebody. Sex, codependency, all that contributes to people not functioning, being softer, being more sensitive. If I don't have. So just something to think about. Addiction. Again, welcome if you're listening to the replay. This is the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I am Dr. Nakumbi, and the show tonight is Breaking the Cycle and part 2 to creating goals. Coach K was unable to make it tonight. She had an emergency come up. So we'll probably do a 2.2. I'm just touching base on some of the points that I would have made or some additional conversation in regards to what we were ending with last week with Mr. Bennett, Trey, and we had one other person, and Bass come up. We were going to have Embrace the Grace. She was going to come up. Don't see her yet. I know there was some connection issues. So again, thank you for coming and joining us tonight and listening, or whenever you're listening to the replay. I won't hold you too much longer. I have a few more points I'd like to go over. And if you want to come up, please let us know. Just send something in the chat there to say you'd like to come up, have the conversation. I'm open to any questions, open to whatever we feel we want to talk about. But I have a couple more points. My main point is 2024 is the year of change, but nothing changes if nothing changes. Shout out to Pastor Sheila. And if you think moving to a different state or different location, you're going to change, that doesn't quite do it because you take you with you. And so even though Coach K and I were going to talk about goals and starting at a good spot, like maybe an easier spot, and really identifying the why. A lot of people don't even know the why. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're doing other than just living routinely. Wake up, eat, do whatever, go to work, do whatever, shit, go to sleep. Routine. Listen to some motivational songs and those speeches. Get up, do it. And in the moment, people temporarily do it, but they don't sustain it because that why. Well, I did it because, and then in addition to maintaining the why, you have to take care of yourself. You have to get your mind right. If you don't have the ability, it won't stay with you. It will not stay with you. Any gentleman ever have where you've been so strong? Remember E.T. or some show where everyone the Titanic, Jack, or whatever, some sob story, and the guy was sitting there like, this is some bullshit. And now years later, you watch one of those dog commercials for 79 cents a day, in the arms of the angel, and you're crying for the dog commercial, 79 cents a day. You don't know what happened to you. You don't know what happened. Not even realizing, check this out, not even realizing that the what happened was this. Before you could see blood, before you could see someone who maybe got shot, before you could see a car accident, before you could see a fight, never really fazed you. Never. And then one day you get sick. Pneumonia, the flu, the pandemic got you sick. Not the pandemic, but you got sick. And it was such an experience. You weren't sure if you were going to make it. And you tapped into that world of vulnerability and fragileness. And all of a sudden now, you see a fight and, you see blood. You hear of death and, ooh. See, because sometimes we think there had to be some drastic change. I got soft. You got soft. Well, I apologize for getting pneumonia. See, I didn't do anything to go get soft. But that experience, that vulnerability. Now, again, I'm not talking military folks or anyone who's actually witnessed death. They witnessed, they're out in the field. But there's some training involved and there's some conditioning involved, and they work with it. And then there's some people out there who they can do it for a certain amount of time, and then they have to pump the brakes because they're starting to, PTSD and nightmares, and it's interfering, and they can't stomach it like they used to. So that's age and old people. It can happen to anyone. So please keep in mind that vulnerability can kick in, fragileness can kick in, and it doesn't take some major like you got soft or you became a simp. That's not how it works. That's for some. For the majority, that is not how it works. All right, let's see. All right, you guys have any questions? Want to throw up here? Any questions? I have one more point that I'm going to make about that why. I'm still talking about the why. I haven't forgotten. I'm just slowing down. So the why. Do you know who you are? Do you know what you're made of? And don't feel bad if our parents, anyone who raised you, those first 5, 10, 15, 20 years is all about taking care of other people. Remember being like the human remote? Go get that, grab that, do for. You have your favorite teacher you should do for. You have your favorite friend, your best friend you should do for. Your parents, if you had grandparents. So you have two parents, and if you have the traditional two parents, and then two grandparents and two grandparents, it's already that's already a gang of folks right there that you've learned, been groomed a bit, conditioned, taught to love, taught to love. So far it hasn't been about you at all. It has not been about you. And you develop these belief systems based on all these significant people in your life. But when have you discovered you? You for you. And if you're locked down on that mentality of do for others, do for others, do for others, to the point where you can't say no, people pleaser, can't say no, all these other titles, some of them, are now even sensitive to say, don't call me a people pleaser. So whatever word you want to use where you don't know how to say no, it feels uncomfortable for you to say no. It feels uncomfortable for you to have conflict. If you're like that, then guess what? Creating goals for you. I'm sick of this shit. It's about me. This year is going to be about me. How are you going to make it about you if you don't even know about you? Simple question. How will you make it about you this year because you're sick, tired, angry, upset, hurt, you feel robbed, cheated? No more. How will there be no more? How would it be upheld? How would it be upheld? How do you put that fence in front of you and have it stand there if there's no foundation to hold it? How do you put the bars in front of you so people can't get in? They can't get in with their toxicity if your bars are this wide, whatever, so people just slide through. You won't be able to sustain it. You won't be able to make these magic changes and make it about you this year. You'll continue to do what you do. You'll continue to do what you've always known, what you've been groomed and conditioned to do. It's that simple. Now, how do you change? How do you change? Wouldn't it be wonderful if it's just one magic answer you can change? And believe it or not, I won't say one magic answer, but there are some steps you can take. First of all, awareness. Let's look at awareness. Are you even aware of your behaviors? Are you aware of your behaviors? Do you even keep track? Like if someone said, you always, here's an example. Sometimes people tell me like, when you do this, that, look, oh, here we go. I'm like, no, I don't. Well, all I have to do is watch the replays, and I can see when I'm squinting and when I'm not. So then it's about denial, because if I see the squinting and I'm still saying no, maybe it was that episode. I watch another episode, well, maybe it was that topic. But after 3 or 4 times, in fact, I say, first time's an incident, second time's a coincidence, third time's a pattern. It's a pattern. And once you go past the pattern of behavior, why would I still be arguing with someone like right now? Why would I be arguing with someone about if I make this face when I already have a pattern of doing it? So if I'm talking about changing from now on, you're not going to see me. You're not going to see me. From now on, are you able to sustain this attitude? Because there's also a thing called acceptance. Who says that you have to change? If someone says, oh, why do you always, who says I have to change? But if I believe in the power of influence, like, oh, you influence me and I don't believe I'll have anyone. If I believe this whole perception that what you say about me is what matters most, then I'll be here working on the forever so I can make sure that I made everyone happy. And then the week after, when someone says, dude, what's wrong with you? What's up with all this? Huh? Oh, well, I'm switched. Oh, come on, make up your mind. Make up your mind. And I don't mean make up your mind like who you're going to follow. I'm talking about you. You, be you. But do you know who you are? It's hard to pick if you don't, what's your comfort? What is your comfort? Wait, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. Now, I'm not talking about getting to a certain size and then going out in the community and proving body shaming is a real thing. I want to prove body shaming is a real thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what makes you comfortable and be realistic with it. Because at a certain weight point comes health issues. But if you know you take a certain medication, you know, the Western world here, we love to give medications. If you know that you take a certain medication and one of the side effects is weight gain, and you're doing everything you can to control it on your side, but you're still gaining weight, but yet you're personalizing it like as if you failed. You have to know the difference between what you can do and what you can't do. And if a certain chemical is causing the weight gain, but you're beating yourself up mentally like, I'm a failure, what did I do wrong? I can tell you one thing most people are doing wrong. They don't even know what's in the medicine that they're taking. I can tell you what one thing that most people are doing when it comes to this particular topic about what am I doing that I can't seem to get the weight off? Well, not just the food you eat, because, of course, if you're eating chips or M&Ms and Pringles and all that, of course. But I mean, I've been eating healthy and I've been working out. Have you been doing the right workouts? And did you realize even some of the healthy stuff that you eat may have an adverse reaction to your body? Do you even know your DNA? Do you even know what kind of chemicals, yellow dye, red dye, blue dye, do you even know how they impact you? So you can switch to Diet Mountain Dew. I'm doing diet. But do you know how that yellow dye or the aluminum in the soda is going to impact you? You know, you cut this back and you cut that back, but you just put a little salt on it, just a little salt on it, just a little bit. You know, you want to get the flavor. So even though you switched up, did you know how it's impacting you? Gout. And I'm talking about the young folks too who get gout. If you don't know what it is, look it up. G-O-U-T. G-O-U-T. Look it up. It's a medical condition. It'll make a grown man want to drink and a grown man want to cry and the preacher want to drink. The pain. The pain is like taking a sledgehammer. Bam! And you can do all the work to make sure you get the medicine to manage the pain and not even realizing that you are contributing to the gout attacks every single day by what you are eating and drinking. Again, you can work your butt to get to the right doctor, do whatever you need to do to get the medicine, to deal with the pain. But why does it keep popping up? Not even knowing that something as coffee, soda, caffeine. Caffeine, if you look it up, you'll know what I'm talking about. Caffeine impacts gout. Mr. Scanner, what's up?
What's going on?
Yeah. How you doing? Let's see. The red dye, they say, is the worst of all. And people forget how soda like Coca-Cola can clean the rust of a car pipe, right? You can clean the car pipes. What do you think it's going to do to your inside? And even be honest, because even like this Gatorade, and I'm not slamming any particular company, but you know, even these things, delicious, only to find out there's chemicals in here. And I know we can find a chemical in anything and everything. I get it. We can find a chemical and make it a reason for whatever. But that's part of my point. You can do a lot of work to do one thing in one area and not even realize that some of what you're doing over here is adding to the destruction. Do you know who you are and what you're doing in life? Let me pause there. Scam, what's going on? Good to see you.
All is well. How's my mic sound?
You sound wonderful. For quality assurance, you sound great.
Cool.
How was your workout?
Yeah, all is well. Had to force a second workout today. So
okay. Give it a little extra push.
Yeah, I got some unrealistic goals. By the summer.
What's the unrealistic goals?
I set an unrealistic goal a couple years ago. I weighed 190, and I actually got down to 190.
Okay.
I weigh 185. And then I put 180 on my board, like just put something unrealistic. And I actually did reach 179 at one point.
Okay.
It wasn't realistic.
Is that good or bad?
Good.
Okay.
So new goal is by the summer, run 4 miles in 30 minutes. That's the new unrealistic goal. Did it in 31
Hold
last.
on, hold on. I don't mean to lie. Hold on. You're gonna hold on. You're gonna do 4 miles in 30 minutes?
Yeah, I did it in 30:52. My prime last year.
I mean, I believe you if you did it, but I'll have to see it. I mean, that's the point is, if it worked out, it worked out. But I hear you. You sound like you honest about working your program. Man, that cracked me up. I just caught it 4 miles. And then the weight thing you got down. Oh man, I don't mean to laugh. It's just sometimes you crack me up, man. The weight thing you got down. Oh,
Yeah,
I got
most
the
people want to gain weight.
179. Yeah.
Most people want to gain. I want to lose.
Right. Man, isn't it crazy how some people make up these goals and stuff and then swear by it that they did it and were successful. And then the people who eat it up. One time I was arguing with somebody on this YouTube and I thought, wait a second. What am I doing? I'm arguing with someone who's throwing out some whatever they're just throwing out there. Why am I? Anyway.
Well, I'm a troll, so I get used to that with all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
that's just the norm.
Right. So what do you think the number one reason is people don't succeed in accomplishing these goals that they create?
Planning, discipline, confidence, activity.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes just throw a goal out there. Okay. There's a why. Like, why do you want to reach this goal? When do you want to reach this goal by? How do you want to reach this goal? And what are the daily activities broken down slowly? And what is your metrics? And this is for the tangible goals. Those are the easy ones to meet.
Right.
Easier.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's tangible or they got numbers attached to it. Meaning,
right.
if you do this activity, you will meet this, such as losing weight or like bench press or push up, something like that. It's got numbers attached. You know, you can do 41, trying to get to 95. Okay, what do I do? As you're tracking it, okay, now you're at 46, now you're at 57. Your bench press at 220, okay, 240, 250, 260. You might get stuck at 265. Right. What do you do? Okay, switch to the bar, go to the dumbbells, go to push-ups, go to incline, got to alter it, then go back to, but it's tangible to where you can see it, you can track it.
Right.
But if you got goals like, I want to be more influential or something, that's not something that's trackable. You mark on the board. I was 37.6 units of influence or motivational goals, like the person you want to become. That's harder because it's not as trackable. Right. But you still have to do the daily activity. You still have to do the work. You're still gonna fall and have hiccups.
Right.
But
so then how do you know if you've reached those goals? I mean, who's the determining factor? What's the determining factor?
For example, I was a supervisor in 2018, December 2018 to May 2020. And I had things I'm good at. Managing, moving work, training, development of people, easy. I had a goal of where I wanted the team to be in 12 months. I did it in like 5. I had a good team. But then how I was able to move, do what I did, and had support, and came up with stuff on the fly, outstanding.
Nice.
Then it was time to manage emotions. Team full of females. And the fact that I would say it like that, team full of females, I didn't know that you don't supposed to say stuff like that. There's stuff I just didn't know. And as far as certain communication in the workforce, so you could think you're doing something right, doing something wrong, and pushing all this stuff. And the solution is active listening. Did I listen? No, not really. Only one layer, maybe the second layer, then I was done listening. So I remember taking an emotional intelligence class in 2019. And one of the things the guy was saying was talking about empathy. And I was telling him, hey, I got this issue. People talking through the emotions, emotion this, and he was like, I tell you what, let's do a role play. I want you to be the emotional person, and then I'm going to be you. You ready? Go. And it was silence. I couldn't even be the emotional person. That's how disconnected I was. Like, you can't even do it. You lack empathy. and that kind of ate me alive for a minute. Months later, I took a second class.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was so simple. It was like this exercise. You're going to pair up with people and tell them about a problem that you're having or something that made you upset. And I don't even remember what the example was. And the person listened. Then we go around and explain what was heard and whatever. And I asked a question. Like, the person told me something. It's like, okay. One or the other, because we're all supervisors, the person said, "You like apples or oranges?" I was like, "I like oranges. I don't like apples." Okay.
Right.
If you open the fridge and there's apples, do you care? No, I don't want apples. I want oranges. Somebody else wants apples. So understand that those oranges to you are the apples to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Pow, it clicked. Kept
Mm-hmm.
applying it, eventually became a way more effective listener.
Mm-hmm.
I can't write it down. Yes, I listen at 4.6 decibel. No,
Right.
but you can just keep doing the activity and keep doing the activity. Ask more
Mm-hmm.
questions, listen deeper, deeper, deeper. Just keep doing it, and eventually the results are come.
Mm-hmm.
You also got to be confident in believing that the results are coming. Otherwise, you're going to cheat yourself. But eventually, one day, I was a decent listener. Still working on it, trying to get better.
Mm-hmm. But when you say better, like how do you know you've reached better? I mean, because if it's about something you can't add up, right? So you don't see the number. I didn't get to 100. I didn't get to 99. How do you know you actually accomplished it? Because someone else said you're a better listener. How do you know?
People used to only call me and ask certain questions and expect certain answers, and they were top layer only. Now in conversations, I can go deeper because I listened to what they said, and they're telling me they see a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, lots of people who would never call me to ask stuff or share stuff are calling me, and they're actually, because usually if you don't listen to them, they ain't gonna listen to you.
Right. So you see the
Now
level of engagement.
everything is going 10 times deeper
Right.
than what it was.
Greater opportunities, deeper conversations, greater influence because people hear that hear that you're listening. Okay.
And it answered a 10-year long question that I always had. And it
Mm-hmm.
cost me one of the best girlfriends I ever had.
Mm.
When a person just wants you to listen and you're a problem solver, what's the problem? I finally figured out the answer to that, maybe 2022.
Mm.
And it took forever to understand that and cost me a girlfriend.
Well, I got to think about that one. So
Beautiful
if
queen,
one wants person to listen, the other one's a problem solver. Got that part. So, but who not blame? Blame might be the wrong word, but then who's the blame? That's again the strong word, but who's at fault if the relationship doesn't work?
Leaders always at fault.
Mm.
Effective leaders are effective communicators.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted her. She did everything I was asking of her. Her
Okay.
femininity level was at a 10, which comes with emotion. Emotions are to be managed, which is responsibility that, of course, I want the person. And they're open enough to share things with me.
Right.
And if they start talking and they want a deep listener, and here I come, why'd you do that? That doesn't make sense. I killed the whole everything. Then they're telling me, you don't listen. Yeah, I do. I heard exactly what you said. I didn't know that listening doesn't mean recording. There's listen to record. That's layer one. Listening to record and understand, layer two. Listen to feel. Actually putting yourself and understand where it's coming from. Layer three. Layer four. Listening to navigate to where you can do all these at once, hear it all, feel it all, and you already can shift the person into where you might want it. And then don't even say anything yet.
Right.
I didn't know how to do all that.
Now I have a challenge for you.
Uh-oh.
And let me give a shout out to the world class and Lou Medic. What's up?
Challenge.
Stop by. And yeah, I'll get you in a second. Welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network.
You said challenge?
Yeah, I got a challenge for you. I have a challenge for you. This is the breaking the cycle. Coach K is not here tonight. She had a family emergency. Sending out vibes of endurance, safety to her and her family, and prayers. So welcome here tonight. As you can see, I'm up here with Dustin. I'm about to challenge something he just said. A lot of people fall into this. A lot of people fall into the fault and blame game. Now, the positive, I heard 1 billion% positive. And shout out, speaking of positive, shout out to those who, I don't see some of these things until after the day or so later. So shout out to those who are sending cash apps. Much, much, much appreciated. So, and then, you know, I don't know if people want to be called out or not called out, but you know who you are. So thank you. And I'll catch up with you. So if you want me to announce, I have no problem doing that as well. I want people to know that you are supporting. All right. I heard a positive story. You learned active listening, and then it took some time. It even cost you some things. Okay, got it. Relationship, she was feminine times 10, and I'm the leader, problem solver, did not engage in the best listening, and rah. And then eventually that killed the relationship.
I plead guilty of all charges.
Okay. I wonder how she got her femininity to a 10. And the reason I say that is because, you know, we don't have to go back to childhood and all that, but the reason I ask, I wonder how she got her femininity to 10. And if it's that high, then what must this person be in order for her to feel safe? How? So can she ever really have a leader that's going to enforce? Again, how did she become so feminine? I don't mean like she has some traditional ways or new ways, or she's very kind and sweet. I don't mean kind and sweet as in kind and sweet. I mean kind and sweet as in, I believe that's the way to keep you happy, sir. I believe that's the way to have someone in my life, sir. And I don't mean a robot or a doormat. Again, just wonder how she got to that level of femininity, excuse me. But then the person who's with her, of course, she's wanting someone who can protect and lead and listen. But the times when it appears that you're not listening, then you're not a good man. I have some pushback with that.
I actually don't. I actually just plead guilty to the charges.
Okay, and that's fair. That's fair.
The reason I plead guilty, I can't necessarily beat up myself for what I didn't know, because all you can do is from what you know.
Right.
But after becoming the listener and becoming a better communicator, now I see that picture over again, and I would present a different person in that situation that matches that situation.
Yeah.
And I would see why a person would not want that person in that situation. I actually understand it.
That makes sense. The challenge.
The easy way out is just blame the women's, but that's the easy way. Something wrong with them.
No, I'm not even talking about blaming the women. I'm talking about knowing when we're accommodating too much. So when we're accommodating too much, then things change because some people have to go through some pain. Some people have to go through some struggles, and we go through it together. And I don't know how the relationship ended, but we go through it together. I'm increasing my listening skills, and I may have barked a few times, but how much do I accommodate? Because when you say I plead guilty, that's awesome. I salute you for taking ownership and not blaming. At the same time, I just want our listeners to also know we have to be careful how much accommodating we do, because sometimes it's not 100%. Every relationship, both people bring something to the relationship. Every relationship, both people bring something. So that's my only pushback or challenge for us to recognize how much do we accommodate, and then now we take ownership, and some of that stuff doesn't even belong to us.
I hear what you're saying. I'm a believer that when you take on something as a leader, you take on all. You, the person, the team, whatever it is, relationship, team, management, and job, whatever, you take it all. The team takes it all, because somehow, somewhere, it's going to fall on the team or on the actual whole unit. So it can't necessarily be, all right, well, I'll take this, but that's on your day. That's
right.
It's going to have an effect. And just like if you're weak in an area, you want somebody to be able to pick up the slack or at least acknowledge or do something. That's the whole effort of a team or of a family or of a group.
Right.
That's the power of a group. Because that somebody can be weak and somebody can pick up something.
And if the team doesn't do well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And where I might have been weak, was she there to pick up anything? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was weak, where what I might have needed from this person was I getting? Yes, and some.
Mm-hmm.
Where something that she needed, no, wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of not knowing what was there, let it keep going and keep continuing. And then it becomes, hey, I can't count on this person for this thing.
Mm.
And say, even with, let's just say parenting, though I'm not a parent, the child sees some kind of neglect or something. They're 10, they come with you a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I have this problem. And you don't hear it through, see it through. Either the best thing is to acknowledge and try to navigate them through, which helps them in their actual, because what it is a teaching lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Navigate them through the process, which challenges critical thinking.
Right.
Knocking it out yourself, that's coddling, because then they'll never have to do it themselves. But helping to navigate them go through the process. But
Okay.
um, if they come through to the parent, hey, I got a problem, and shame or neglect or one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
they may believe that they can't come to you for the problems.
Right.
Some of them are aware at 10. You can't solve this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just don't like him. And I would rather suffer than go to him and deal with this.
Mm-hmm. No, but do me a favor. Let's identify these words, because the actual definition of shame is something idiotic. Okay, so the definition of shame is that means the person engaged in something intentionally idiotic. So what behavior is that parent doing that's shaming? Just give me an example.
Okay. Trying to think of a 10-year-old problem.
Mm-hmm. Or the parent problem, because the parent's doing the shaming. So what's in, but so we know the word shaming, but what is that behavior that they're doing? Because at 10 years old, there's some things I believe you should know already. And it's
Okay.
probably, I need to take some ownership. There's some things you haven't learned, I probably need to take some ownership. So it was
That
my fault that I didn't teach you, but then I'm telling you how stupid you are.
that very thing that you just said.
Yeah.
They're coming with a problem. That means it's a problem. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, there's at 10 you should, but what if it takes this person to a 12?
Right.
What if their number was actually 12?
Right.
What if the number was 7
Yeah.
and there's something other? Because the first step of problem solving is identifying the problem
Yeah. But I can
versus
use that same.
already going to the communication and the consequence. First,
Mm-hmm.
identify the problem.
Mm-hmm. I can use that
So,
same process though, and
okay.
you might feel shamed, especially in our current society. So if you came to me at 10, but you might develop you might be a better developer by the time you're 12. And I say to you, you're 10 years old. Okay, first of all, that sounds shaming. I'm sorry I didn't meet I'm sorry I didn't meet the matrix at 10, right? So that I get
Mhm.
that. That sounds and feels more shaming. But I can use
Mhm.
that same method and say, hold on. Son, I don't mean to sound harsh, but there's some reality stuff here. I have no problem with you being 10 years old and not knowing that, but you have some work to do. And I'm going to leave that up to you to figure it out. It's like when they told us you can't know how to spell a word, get a dictionary. I always thought, well, if I can get a dictionary, if I knew the word, I wouldn't be asking. So I hear you clearly saying the person's asking for help. The 10-year-old finally mustered up the courage to trust their parent. But what I
Okay.
want to do is slice it and say, yep, there's a trust issue because thank you for just now teaching me that I'm an idiot and I would not be safe going to you. So that's one thing. But the other part is, no, you
Mhm.
are safe. But son, I need you to learn. I want you to learn. I'll teach you that everything won't come with a soft glove. So that doesn't
That's
mean you're not safe. It just means that we're going to help push those critical skills.
right. That's a navigation process.
Yes.
Hey, I'm going to show that's more. Hey, I'm going to navigate you, not navigate you. I want to see if you can get through this process at 10 years
Right.
old. It's a
Yep.
challenge
Mm-hmm.
and it's a test of critical thinking. And also to where they can also possibly come back and still feel comfortable coming to you. Hey, I couldn't figure it out. I
Right.
tried and I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Versus putting them in survival mode. Um, Depending on the person, everybody takes things different.
Mm-hmm.
Some internalize. That's where a lot of people got low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
They internalize what you said. They believe in the system.
Mm-hmm.
And you told them they're not meeting the standards of the system. Therefore, they're a failure. And they internalize it.
Mm-hmm.
I suck and I didn't pass as a 10-year-old. Some of them are rebels. All they know is what you did was wrong, and now they want to get you for it.
Right. Right.
You didn't communicate in an effective way, and it's your fault because you never taught me how to do this anyway at 10. You suck.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
Mm-hmm.
like it. Some of them, whatever this conversation is or whatever you're doing and speaking is so negative, I don't want to ever come to you with a problem again. I'll either figure it out or I just won't.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think the
agree with
last one
you.
is probably my personality. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
this negative energy. I don't even think you can handle the problem yourself.
Right.
But I know I can't come to you because I'm going to hear this junk. So let me go out somewhere else and try to figure it out.
Let me know how
I
that works
can't
for
come to
you.
you.
Yeah, you got awakening waiting for you, because here how we do it at home. If you feel this is too much for you, I totally understand, and I'm willing to adjust. But at some
Mhm.
point, wake up, because it is not like this in a society with people who are not feeding you, not
Mhm.
clothing you, not taking care of you, not making sure you get your medication, nothing, 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 nothing. But because the tone, or because my reaction, or because you didn't get what you want, part of that would be part of that natural development. And I'm willing to work with you. And in fact, when you start to pick it up at 12, I want to come back with some celebration. Wow, son, I'm really proud. Like you, I see you're developing, you're really coming together. And I'm glad you came to me. So I want to add that celebration and support. But the only thing I want to add to what you're saying, the biggest thing I want to add to what you're saying,
Mhm.
especially in the society we live in, where everything's mental illness, everything is soft, everything is pop a pill, everything's being mean, mean, mean. When you go to a school where they encourage you to go to a counselor instead of a parent, to go to a so-and-so instead of a parent, and then if I say, well, oh, wow, you're breathing heavy, huh? I was gonna, so I think there's a fine line between sensitivity and a parent actually shaming you. Again, the definition according to Webster, and I'll hand
Mhm.
it back to you in a second, but according to Webster, and I don't know about heart, but when I speak on this topic, I talk about that shame means something that was done idiotically, ridiculous, and on purpose. So even when a drug deal, a
That's
drug
more what I'm
addict,
referring to. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
same. We're on the
when
same
a
page.
drug, when a drug addict takes money from grandma or grandpa, that was idiotic. What were you thinking? But in my addict mind, I was thinking survival. When I'm clear and sober,
Mm.
me myself would say, damn, that was messed up. So in my addict mind, I had an act that was shameful. In my sober mind, I know better. And if I don't know better, I'm at least open to apologies. So taking that same thinking, I don't like when people, not you, but I don't like when people get confused and feel like you were shaming me. But that same conversation in the courtroom, yes, Your Honor, I understand, Your Honor. That same conversation at the job, yes, I understand. That same conversation in the relationship, I got it, I still want you, babe. But why that compliance with them? Why that compliance? Why it not be so shameful? So I think people take advantage of that word shame or that experience and probably make it bigger than what it needs to be. And I would like parents to be more aware, or as the SEDS will say, more conscious, to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know what? I'm noticing this is what Dust was talking about. I think our son, I think he's putting his head. So I need to be able to recognize that. That's the other piece. If I recognize him, be like, get the fuck out of here. Wow. Or I can recognize him and be like, for real, son, I'm gonna let you sit in those feelings for a minute, and then we're gonna come back and talk, because I believe we can do better. I want you to sit in that for a minute. What do you think of that?
I like the way you're putting it because one way is negligent,
Mm-hmm.
one way is holding an expectation that you did that hasn't been evaluated, which does put a child in can put a child in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
Versus putting them in, hey, you're going to have to do this to survive, but I'm here for your support. I
Right, right,
want you to grow up and I want you to fix this problem, but I actually still do exist and understand what you're going through.
right,
Versus, hey, man, you can't come to me as a parent because I don't like what you said. Because
right.
it's not just about the message that's delivered, it's also the message that's received. You're talking about a 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hold on for a
also,
quick second. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You pause. I thought you were going to say, hold on for a quick second. I just went, go ahead.
yeah, I
Keep
think
it
you get
subject
what I'm
flow.
trying to. I think I get
I
what you're
do.
trying to say, and it
I
can put a
do.
person in a situation where they know they can't come to you. So when the drug and victim mafia comes, hey, try some of this.
Yeah.
Hey, marinating your cell phone all day and be a dusty. it makes that
Right.
very more appealing
Right.
because they
So
have their ways of sucking people right on into the victim mafia.
yeah, but you still can come to me, and I'm gonna tell you how in a second. Let me tell you how in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk with JVJ. Welcome to the panel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you came
What's
up.
good?
Let me give a few shout outs. Mrs. She Said is in the house. Mr. He Said is in the house. What's up?
What's
Welcome,
good?
welcome, welcome. Thank you for swinging through. I know we were Torrance Moore is in the house. Hink in the basement is swinging through. What's up? Glad to have you here. Black Man Unfiltered Network breaking the cycle tonight. Coach K is out with a family emergency, so much prayers out to her. We are shooting it tonight still with some goal-setting conversation and some reality conversation. Dust is on the panel. He was talking about the idea of growing to the point where you recognize your behavior has actually cost you, like relationships and different things over the years. So getting to that point of like, wow, I recognize and I'm more aware. I threw out a challenge, not so much to Dust or to Scam, but to say, oh, I like that. But I do have a challenge because our world is shifting. Marcus was talking about, yeah, our world has gotten soft. Pills, sensitivities, can do this, can't do that. So you take that, you take the old traditional way, and you kind of meet it in the middle and have some challenges about how can we still use these processes that have worked for many families and add a piece to it so it works for both parties. And I'm gonna answer that in a quick second. Let's talk with JVJ on the mic. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Y'all both doing all right tonight?
Fabulous.
Well, look, I was caught up in especially when y'all got to the part about the shame.
Mm-hmm.
I think in today's society we view it as a negative connotation.
Pretty much.
And I think that it should be viewed as a positive one. But
Mm-hmm.
we've kind of gotten to the situation where going to what you said about Marcus saying that we're soft now. The society's gotten soft, especially on the men's side. I truly
Yeah.
believe that's the case. Like if I had a child, especially if I have a son, if he does something wrong, I'm not going into the situation to reprimand him, thinking that if I go this far, he might not come back to me. Because that's not
Right.
what I'm worrying about as a father.
Right.
My number one focus is when he leaves this house that he comes back alive. So I'm
Okay.
gonna
Well,
do
do me
what
a
I need
favor.
to do.
Well,
Go
do me
ahead.
a favor. I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to. Here's one of the things. We take a word, not us, but overall, we take a word and we either consider it to be good or bad. I
Mhm.
would like to break down what is the behavior that you're talking about, shame. And I'd ask Dust to explain, please, what do you mean by shame? The definition of shame is to do something idiotic and ridiculous. So
Mhm.
when you say, it's a good thing, what is a good thing? Something idiotic and ridiculous? What is a good thing?
Well, idiotic and ridiculous, like son, don't steal.
Yeah.
And then I get a call from your teacher at school or your principal at school that you stole something out of another kid's book bag. You're
Mhm.
gonna catch shaming off of that.
You
It's
got
completely
what what's that? What's the catching? What's the catch? What is it? What am I
what do you
catching
mean?
as the kid? What is the behavior that's going to feel like it's shame?
Well, a lot of kids wouldn't want to get. Well, you can do it either way. It can happen two or three ways. You know how you have some parents that actually come up to the school and embarrass that child in front of other parents or other
Yep.
kids. That's
Yep.
one way of shaming. But some kids, depending on how they feel, because everybody feels differently, just you having a conversation with them at home, being very harsh to them, they can consider that shaming too if they have brothers or sisters around.
And
So it
okay, so
could.
that's where I want us to stop.
I got a
Going to the
question too.
school, that's going to the school is not something intentionally idiotic and ridiculous. You are going to the school to hold your kid accountable. Shame shouldn't even be part of the conversation. The word shame should not even be part of the conversation. Someone might throw it out there. Why did you go to school and shame your kid? I don't know what you're reading into shame. I went to the school one because I paid
Mhm.
attention. I was parenting. I was holding my kid accountable and showing the school that they have support. That is not shaming. Oh, your tone. My tone was what? It was aggressive. And what was the act of my son? Aggressive. He took something that didn't belong to him. Now, if I beat the shit out of him and did all that and then blah, 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 that's a different story. But as far as me saying, yeah, I'm up at the school. Oh, you shamed him. Everyone saw you come into the building. And so what I'm suggesting is we need to get away from when we use not you, but when overall when we say stuff like mentally ill, anxiety, and shame. We are putting words into shame, the category of shame. But if it was a judge, a police officer, a teacher, a job, a significant other, they weren't shaming. They were holding us accountable. That parent is holding the kid accountable. And one more, not at the school. I didn't go up to the school, but when you came home, I met you at the door with a belt, a bat, and whatever. That's abuse. We went past shame. That's not idiotic or ridiculous. We went into abuse if you mishandle how you use those tools. A bat in one state, as long as you don't hit them above the whatever, is okay. A belt, ignoring in one state, as long as you don't do psychological damage. So my point is, I agree with you. Let's get away from thinking shaming is a bad thing. But then when we add, we can use shame as a good thing. Well, we're almost saying the same thing. I would say remove the word shame and say, I am parenting my child. I'm aware of what's going on. Thank you, teacher, for letting me know. And I'm able to show you support by coming to the school. Is that to be written in stone?
No,
But
you actually hit on a great point, because I was coming in it from the position of, okay, the child did something that deserves shaming, but even with you explaining the shaming part on the other side, don't call that shaming. That's reprimanding. That's being a parent, disciplining your child.
right,
I
exactly.
like how you explain that.
Dust, you had pushback.
No, not pushback. I just got a question.
Yes.
Did you ever go and find out why the kid was stealing?
Good question.
This is hypothetical. This was
No,
hypothetical.
I get it. No, I get it, but
as a parent, would I want to know why that child stole?
No, meaning I had a conversation.
Try to investigate that.
I had a conversation with somebody because I'm against corporal punishment.
Okay.
I'm against neglect, shame in the negative term that we use, in the form that we use, or definition that we were using earlier. And I'm against neglect, corporal punishment, and shame in those terms. But if a child, the way I explain it is, trying to make it simple. Talk to somebody in my family. They gave an example of a 5-year-old drawing on the wall. It's like, oh, I'm going to beat him. Whoa, I'm going to get him, fire him up. It's like, why? Because that's going to teach him not to draw on the wall. Really? So were they instructed not to draw on the wall? I'm instructed when I get them. So you didn't even find out why the problem's even happening. You're already in consequence mode. Meaning, now stealing, yeah, is it dusty? Yes. But what is it, the whole thought process of why they did what they did? Meaning, could there be another reason or something that doesn't require whatever measure or whatever? But the thing that you're trying to solve is the actual thing of what crossed their mind of the why. The stealing was only the action of what it was that they were thinking. If you change the way that they think, you can change the way that they act.
Quick question. Are you talking about the first offense or the second offense?
Even the first and the second. Now, second
first, offense, I would agree.
It's probably going to be some dust. But
the first, I would agree with you. Like, I think you need to talk to your children and explain why what they did was wrong. But after you've already conveyed that information and you've made sure that you've gotten it across clear, you have to get to the point of now there's consequences to your actions. Because what you're going to give them in the house is not going to be anywhere near compared to what they might get in the world later. And I'm always under the mindset of protecting my kids from the world.
Fair game.
So let me jump in real quick. There's one of those. That's one of those things again. You talk to the child. After that, there will be consequences. Correction. The talking was the consequence. This particular method that I use this time is the consequence. And the reason I want to highlight that is because someone else can take that as in, oh, because they didn't listen to you, now you're going to consequent them. No. All of it was a consequence. But my choice in the type of consequence was a conversation. Now we're going to increase the type of consequence. And I just want to highlight that because so many people would jump and say, oh, because you didn't say your words and they're going to make it seem like because you weren't happy with what was said and what was followed through on. I wasn't happy with any of it. And my choice of consequence in this first round was through communication. So that's all I want to highlight. It's all consequence.
Well, I like that you said that. I hope that people are smart enough to get that. Because
Oh, but
clearly,
no, they're
like
not. I mean,
some people ain't.
no, well, or just not you. Just listen, but hear this. Yeah, I tried to talk to them, but clearly they didn't listen. Now I got to add a consequence. So common sense says I need to increase the consequence, but people run with people. They'll separate the two, and then because the word consequence is introduced and it looks like a spanking or whatever, that
Mm-hmm.
means consequence means beating. When no, if you understood and really followed, you understood that once they did the behavior, my response, the consequence to that behavior, there's a consequence behind everything we do. Positive consequences, negative, man-made, natural. So I just wanted to highlight that and have us be aware, especially if you're one of those parents where you get pushback about, oh, now you're no, there was no now you. I start with a consequence and then I shift in the type of consequence. Is tomato tomato, but it makes a difference for some.
Nah, you pretty much giving a verbal clarification on it, so I get that. Like I was raised with a father in the church and a mother in the church, and I had grandparents all the way around. So just them talking to me, I already knew that was a consequence. But I get your
Yes,
point because there's people out here that don't get that. They think their
right,
mama just yelling at them, their daddy just yelling at them, and then when they get a whooping, okay, now I'm getting a punishment.
right.
The
Now
punishment started when I talked to you.
it started when I talked to you. Now again, the word sound, oh, you punished me. The consequence, my response to your behavior. Yes, whatever you want to call it is my response. Now, Dust, here's what I really want to push it. I really want to push it now.
Okay.
You don't believe in corporal punishment, no
Mm-mm.
worries. There's another side of the world that says in the addiction world, we say until the pain of your consequences outweighs the behavior, the joy of the behavior, you won't change. There's an
That
entire
makes sense.
world, part of the world that says until the pain, and as I said, there could be natural, man-made, soft, hard, whatever the level of but until people hit rock bottom, until people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, until they lose everything. So there's some parents who say, I'm not just going to sit idle and let you lose everything. I'm going to do everything that I can, which may feel painful, but until the pain of the consequences outweighs the joy of your idiotic behavior, shameful behavior, and if I don't respond to that, I'm actually being idiotic in my parenting. I'm being neglectful in my parenting. Doesn't mean I have to put my hands on you, no, but I may have to increase that level of pain until the consequences outweighs the joy of the behavior. And now let me pause one more. Let me give you two more things and I'll switch it back over. I do agree with you, Dust, that if it's just whack-a-mole, that how long do we sustain that? Are you really teaching anything, or was it just you getting your aggression out? That's 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 abuse. That's not parenting with consequences and tools. Here's what I suggest: whichever people's method is, if it's verbal, soft, with tools, or if it's spanking, corporal, punch, push-ups. I also ask that we ask the other key pieces before the kid gets in their feelings, before the family members get into their feelings, the schools. I ask that we also teach distress tolerance. That hurt your feelings because I just looked at you. No corporal punishment, just looked at you. But I felt shamed by the look. You felt like you did something idiotic when you stole the phone at the school. It's fitting. But I need you to learn distress tolerance. I need you to learn how to pause, how to breathe, how to deal with the emotions. I need you to understand how systems work because I am here for you, and one day I'm going to be gone. You have to get into a sob story, but I'm talking about teaching how systems and families work. That's why we have to be careful when the kid is watching. They see every damn thing that we do. When they're watching and you're not being an accountable parent, then the system that they're being raised in is a system of no accountability. Now back to the point. Distress tolerance, how to manage it. There are about 5 skills that they can practice to learn so they can get to the point of, and I'm not sure if this is where you were going when you said Why did they steal the phone? Did we ever ask? I wanted one. So you felt you had to steal it? Yes, because I wanted. It came out of a place of a desire and an opportunity. Desire, opportunity. A purse is a purse is a purse. Why did you steal it? What was inside, I wanted. I felt entitled. I felt entitled. So, in addition to whatever the consequence you choose, in addition to that, are we teaching them to be mindful? Did you observe what's going on? Did you think about what's going on? Did you consider what's going on? Were you mindful at the moment before you stole it, at the time you stole it? Empathy, compassion, sympathy? Did you even have any of those cross your mind? How do you think you want to get the phone to work? You thought we were just going to hook it up. Well, where'd you get this? Yay. And for the idiotic parents that sounds disrespectful. For the parents who engage and encourage that, then guess what? You're going to get kids who are willing to steal a phone and give it to you because you know you get service on it. So mindfulness is a tool, whole set of tools of being aware. I don't know if you've ever said, damn, I wish I just knew that. I wouldn't have had half the problems that I have if I just knew. So mindfulness, distress tolerance, for emotional regulation. I know, Dust, you talk about that a lot. Emotional intelligence, being aware of your emotions, how it hurts you, helps you, how to express them. You motherfuckers, that is an expression. Does it serve you? And then I'm sad and hurt. Does that serve you? So use it appropriately, knowing how to use it, but still have some emotional intelligence and an ability to manage the emotions. Last couple, interpersonal skills. Is it that the parent is not talking to them, or parents don't know how? Neither one of them know how to talk to each other. We don't have interpersonal. This is how we talk to each other now. So interpersonal skills are horrible. And when I go up to the school, that is a form of my interpersonal skills. I'm up at the school to see you. If I had a game or something, you never come up. I'm here now because you engaged in behavior that's not about our family values, not about our traditions. I'll land there. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep what I was gonna say because it's gonna drag it off topic.
I mean, I'm open to it. So I mean, if it's off topic, we'll roll with it because it's not about being right or wrong. I'm just adding to what you're offering.
The thing of why is the reason I say to get into the why. 10-year-old does something at school, they steal, they clown somebody's shoes,
mm-hmm.
to get in trouble for roasting somebody or something inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And you go and you really dig and find out why. Mm-hmm. The reason they was roast somebody's shoes, they say, hey, I thought it was acceptable. When y'all was at the family reunion, you was roasting Uncle Tom's shoes, everybody was laughing.
Right.
But we was friends. But me and him was friends. And it might be actual disconnect or something that they really don't understand.
Yes.
You go all the way to the consequence before finding that, hey, there's actual disconnect. Or if they're doing something because they got low self-esteem, like, okay, yeah, I got to adjust whatever, but I understand, got a self-esteem problem, or we got something else going on. But if you never get to the why, you'll never know. And you're treating outside symptoms and don't know what's going on inside. And they don't know to come to you. Like as I can say it, me growing up, I've been on the good side and the bad side of the communication sides of parenting. Mm-hmm. Some stuff, I've been the person who's like, you know what? I don't know what the hell y'all doing as parents, but I ain't never coming to y'all asking no questions. Just no.
Right.
Because I knew something was wrong. Mm-hmm. But I can't come to you because here you go out. I don't ever want to hear this dust again. No. Right. Then there were some times where they were teaching moments that prevented the behavior from ever even happening in the first place. Mm. But I'm just saying that there is understandings, but if you never get to the why, the how, and ask more questions, possibly be some air balls. And I'm only half screwed up. Only 50% screwed the hell up. The other half is actually all right.
Right. Now let's talk. I want to see if you caught it. Did you catch? And this is not a judgment question. This is just how it just rolls out. Did you catch what Scam said about the consequence?
Well, he was more focused on the why than anything.
I mean, the words. When he said, now you consequence the kid only to find out there was a disconnect.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming, Scam, that you meant now you had a behavior, most likely corporal punishment, or talk to them like they were crazy. Now you offered a consequence only to find out there was a disconnect.
Right.
Even without corporal punishment, it is still a consequence, meaning conversation. So that's where I think our society gets caught in. Now you hurt them only to find out I could have talked to them as sweet as pie, only or assertively, and still not have caught, still didn't catch yet that we have a disconnect. Because I was more concerned about soothing them. Are you good, son? Like, I mean, it's not the worst in the world. I know it's embarrassing. That's a consequence right there, son. You feel foolish? Oh man, the teacher caught me and they put me in front of the class. Having that conversation. How do you deal? I hope you don't put yourself in that situation again. That right there is a first level consequence. I just challenge to say, using words, again, I'm not here for tomato, and I'm not insulting.
Mm-hmm.
My intent is not to insult intelligence, but being aware that the next level, this is how I'm going to help my kid be accountable. Son, we talked about it today. Daughter, we talked about it today. I just want you to know, I don't do a lot of talking about these things because I get emotionally. See, now ownership. Here's some of the levels of accountability. I have a heart. The way I was raised, you don't. So, son, I want to work with you. How do we figure this out? The next time, if I decide to go hands-on or whatever the process is, reminding them that they are helping, they are contributing to the increase. But without that conversation, it just sounds like, wow, you either just ignore me or beat me. Ignore me or beat me. It seems like you only listen when I beat you. And that's another thing about being accountable. Parents need to understand the signs. So when you yell at a kid, and no, that's hot. Don't touch it. It's hot. No, it's hot. God damn, I said it's hot. Don't you mother. And it looks like they're not listening, but they're actually having a trauma response and things are getting closed off. And the parent thinks that they're not being listened to and they start becoming more aggressive. That's not a kid problem. That's the parent's problem, not recognizing. They haven't taken the steps to recognize or to acknowledge or to understand the stages of development for their kid. Almost back to what you were saying, Dust. At 10 years old, you might not have gotten it yet. It is my responsibility as a parent to try and figure that out with you. But at the same time, I am going to parent you with the expectations that you know and learn. But we'll get it at 12, but I'm still going to parent. I'm not going to accommodate. I can't. Okay, just stay home today.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
of
not
course
going to
not.
accommodate.
No.
I'll land there, gentlemen. And let's see what people are saying in the chat too as well. My bad.
No, I was gonna give one example.
Mm-hmm.
I was maybe 6, 7, little kid in the
Mm-hmm.
80s. Give me, everybody's dapping each other up. Give me 5. Well, my godfather has 6 fingers on both his hands, and we're kids. That was fascinating. He got 6 fingers. So one day we go over there, and I tell him, "Give me 6." I didn't know it was inappropriate.
That's yeah.
I wasn't.
Well,
I got fired up when I got home.
yeah.
And I'm crying in the car the whole time because I don't know why I'm getting in. My brother's 4 years older, and he's an instigator. He thinks it's all funny. My sister, I don't remember what she thought about it, but I get fired up. They didn't even tell me. I just knew I wasn't supposed to say that, but I never got told why and what the whole process. And the way I internalized it, I never wanted to go over their house. I didn't like them because all I could think in my mind is if we ever go over there, deal with my godparents, all I knew was something negative.
Yep. And that's going to have a tremendous impact. That's going to have tremendous impact on you throughout the years because it's going to impact how you exchange and talk to other people. It's going to impact if you want to be around other people, you're afraid to talk, should talk, not know what to say. That's going to have horrible impact for many, many, many years to come. Parent, uncle, whoever, at some point should have circled back. Now, I don't know if you were joking. I don't know what the hell that was about, but you coming over cracking jokes and shit, talking about my 6 fingers and all. You know, what the hell?
Yeah, I literally didn't know that it was. I did not know that was inappropriate.
Then boom, I just did what you said.
I didn't know at all.
I gave a higher level consequence only to find out there was a disconnect that you didn't know. That parent that's wanting to make sure before we go to that level What does a job do? They give a duty to warn. What does a job do? In most cases, they should give you a verbal warning, a written warning, termination. Depending on what you do, you go straight to. So similar to that, I would encourage parents to have a system that says he should have known better. But parents, what evidence do you have that they do? What evidence do you have that the kid knows better? Then there's some things we don't do a written and verbal warning. You go straight to termination. There's some things you go straight to. You didn't know, but I'm here to tell you now. It doesn't have to be abuse, but you didn't know, but I'm here to tell you now. Because not every system is going to walk in. And then by the time we get up there, sometimes that's teaching the kid that I can do all kind of shit. And it's not until I get caught. It's not until I get caught. So we have to be careful with that system too, because we're molding them to think, well, shit, as long as I don't get caught, nothing's been said, nothing's been done. Parents have a system. You know, you done, son, I caught what you did earlier. I went downstairs. I saw you down there humping the floor. What was going on? Huh? That's embarrassing. I know. What was going on? I saw you grinding. What was going on? The TV screen was squiggly and stuff. What was going on? Oh, Dad. That's that first level, son. We could talk about it. But if Dad just sees it and says, oh, that's my dude. You know, that's my dude. He's gonna pull it out one of these days and jerk on it. And then what I'm gonna do him a favor, I'm gonna set out a jar of Vaseline for him by accident one time just to see how what's that doing. All right, let me get to a few of these comments. And I know jagging off and what you were talking about is not the same, but I'm saying I agree with you that if you do that style where there's a disconnect, but your response was that, and only to find out, damn, you're right, that's gonna have future damage. All right, beautiful animators in the house, and Mrs. She says shame. Hello, salute to you. Shame is painful feeling, distress caused by consciousness of wrong, foolish. So in your definition, foolish, the one I was talking about earlier, I'm not sure how much earlier you were listening. I was talking about idiotic, or I forgot the words I use now. Idiotic, but foolish, same thing. Shaming a child is not okay. Training them to create good habits with their time. But again, I'm going to challenge, what does shaming mean? Because if we're talking about doing foolish behaviors, absolutely. Doing something stupid, foolish, out of unawareness or awareness, once you receive that hat, once you put that badge of parenting on, ignorance of parenting, what to say, ignorance of the law does not count. Ignorance of parenting does not count. It is your duty to find out. So I challenge to say, hey, parents, find out what behaviors you're doing, because you might be robbing yourself of credit. I felt bad, I shamed them. No, you were parenting them. Or you might be going too far and like, yeah, you did go overboard. It was idiotic, ridiculous, and for what? Well, they know better now. So you got ridiculous on them to prove a point, but yet still didn't teach them a thing. So you know what that is? That's guaranteed that they'll fuck up again, because there was no teaching behind it. It's guaranteed. What are them things they do where they know, like in drug treatment? You go to drug treatment for 30 days, you've been smoking crack for 10 years, and then you're going to go to drug treatment for 30 days. You know what the insurance company knows? You'll be back. You'll be back. There's no way in the world you've been drinking alcohol for 10 years, and you're going to go to a 21-day program, and you are healed. They got you sober. You got some beauty rest and got fresh, and you're back out in the street, and 3, 2, 1, oh no, you're back. Mm-hmm. So that parenting without that stuff you're talking about, Mrs. She said, and scam, and let's talk about it. That additional support, that additional understanding, teaching, modeling, without that piece, it is guaranteed they come back for a second ass whooping, third, and then you're increasing the ass whooping because they keep repeating and you're increasing the punishment. You're increasing now we got to the point where we don't abuse the kid. All right. Shaming, it's mean. I agree. But again, what is mean? Me going to the school and holding my kid accountable. I'm sorry if it hurt his feelings. That's me. Now, if I went up there and act a goddamn fool, that's a different story. Good evening, everyone. Mr. He says in the house, give children clear expectations. Exactly. Structure, organize, clean space, rules, consequences. I think both the gentlemen on the panel know if our lives are a mess, we're going to produce mess. That's what I'm thinking. If our lives are a mess, And I'll turn the floor over here to you in a second. So I'm not doing all the talking. I just want to read a few more of these. And parents who, if you don't have this, and this is one of the things I believe if you listen to the SEDS, one of the things they offer is the mentoring. Because a messy house, what's behind a messy house? That's what I was talking about earlier. Procrastination. A messy house is a disguise for personal problems. Business problems are personal problems in disguise. Messy, chaotic lives are a disguise for personal problems. So, parents, if you don't know how to get your shit together, get some support, get some mentoring, have people teach you, show you some better ways. If it's mental health stuff, get help. Okay. Give children clear expectations, structure, organize, clean, rules, consequences for when they are broken or not respected. And remember, the word consequence could be natural, unnatural, man-made, soft, all the way up to corporal, push-ups, whatever you want to call it, but it is a response to behavior. It's going to happen regardless. Accountability. So breaking cycles of self-reflection, accountability, and change behaviors. Absolutely. Breaking those cycles. And sometimes our kids are going to pass us. It's like, damn, you still doing that, Dad? You still doing that, Mom? They pass us. We want to get down when they're down here. They should already be seeing it at that age of comprehension. And all the Dr. Yahoos back in the day, and this hasn't been canceled. So all the Dr. Yahoos back in the day said between the ages of 4 and 8, 3.5 to 9, 4 and 8, 3.5 to 9. What happens to you in that time frame, what you see, what you observe, that is you for the rest of your life. If you are growing up in a chaotic home between 4 and 8, it is locked in your subconscious mind, chaos. If you had fear between 4 and 8, or some parents said we got better now, we don't beat them like we used to. Okay, it only takes a nanosecond, and you could have been perfect. That's the other piece. You don't have to have abused your kids. Everyone experiences something that they consider to be unsafe. So if you are engaging in a nasty house between 4 and 8, if you are engaging in sex between 4 and 8, if you are engaging in any of these behaviors and the kids see it, hear it, or feel it, drop them off at daycare. Don't want to go. That is a trauma response. And then 28 years old, I don't like when you leave. I have a hard time with transitions. You're 28, you're a grown ass man. I have a hard time with transitions, not knowing, even back in the time when you just simply bringing them to daycare, that they were having a panic attack and going ballistic, that it still bothers them to this day. 10-year-old usually is able to think logically and know the difference between fantasy and reality. Most do, but now depending on what they're being taught, our 10-year-old life now is kind of different what they're being taught. But sense-wise, yep, they are of the age of reasoning. 10 years old is of the age of reasoning. However, their cognitive skills, they might be a little slow. And I don't mean that like the short bus. I mean as in, oh, I had not experienced that yet. Oh, I didn't learn that yet. Oh, I didn't know that yet. So some people, pending their experiences or their cognition or learning abilities or disabilities. In fact, you take Scam's story. If that was between 4 and 8, Scam could be a 10-year-old and have speech problems. Listen again. He was being funny about 6. No, excuse me. You weren't being funny, right? You were not being funny. You said, you weren't being funny.
Right. At the time, give me 5 was what you said. So I said,
right.
Give me 6.
Give me 6.
It was just whatever.
And not teaching you, right?
Yeah,
not teaching you, not supporting behind it, not explaining, could lead someone to be 10 years old and all of a sudden have speech problems. Speech problems, all because they learned at a certain time, like I said the wrong thing, and look at the reaction. And then I'll land here. Help them to choose chores. Absolutely. Teach modeling skills, teaching them skills. And those in the chat, do you hear these nuggets that Mrs. She said is dropping? Please, please, please check out their channel. Mr. and Mrs. She said, conscious parenting, cerebral Saturdays. And I want to say up front, at least for me, I can't speak for others. There's levels to it. There are levels to it. Don't go over there thinking you're just going to be entertained and have some yeehaw conversation. There are levels to it about being a man, about being a woman, about being a human, about being a parent. And there's real conversations. And they're dropping nuggets here in this conversation, the actual skill sets, the actual skill sets. So please take note. And is a bat of an example or real? I say a bat because some parents have learned back in the day, or even now, some parents have learned the level of threat that you present up front. Hopefully, is enough. Hope walk with a big stick. They've been saying that back in the Bible days. A certain stick with the rod, and boom. So even now, some people have certain objects that they believe. You ever hear parents say, "Yeah, my daughter start dating, I'm gonna take her boyfriend to the gun range. We're not to shoot him, we're just shooting together. But when I pull out that Magnum and that, yeah, what's up?" All kind of, and then the other parents who all they know to do, to what Dust is talking about, all they know how to do, they don't know how to talk, they don't know how to hold, they just know how to swing that bat. So I meant it as a real example that's a realistic thing. Not suggesting abuse, just saying it's real. Torrents to make kids feel shame. And hopes can't make a kid feel shame. Can't make them. Let's go back to the definition. You can't make someone feel like they did something idiot. Like they're. Let's go back to Mrs. She says what shame is. And gentlemen, thanks for your patience. Thanks for your patience. Shame is a painful feeling of distress caused by consciousness of wrong, foolish behaviors. If the kid didn't know that they did something, if they did not know, then that takes away the conscious part of it. So the drug addict, when they're in their addict mind, I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing it. They take different risks. Different chemicals are firing off in the brain. It's a different person. You ever heard someone say, you weren't yourself? So when you're not yourself, and then we put that on them about you were stupid and dumb and da 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 unconsciously. Now in your conscious mind, are you aware now? You're awake now? You hear me now? Yeah. Are you awake now? You hear me? Huh? Wake up. You okay? Yeah, 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 I hear you. Then let me make this clear. You're fucked up, right? Let me make this very clear. Let me make this clear. But see, that presentation, pending your kid, even this presentation can feel intimidating. And they say, God damn, well, shit, somebody's going to intimidate him. True. But that's the reminder that until the pain of the consequences outjoys the behavior, so you're shaking yourself. What are you shaking? What's going on? Oh, you're scaring me. That's part of life. I'm having anxiety. That's part of life. I'll wait. I'll walk you through it. But I want you to know you need to learn some additional skills. You need to learn some additional skills because it's going to be somebody out there talking to you the same or even less or greater than. And if that's your response, son, you're not going to make it. And then I'll land with this, gentleman. Give children clear expectation structure, organized. Sorry, I read that part. If they don't do the chores they laid out for themselves, hold them accountable, explain how important it is to them and why they should do it and what's going on. I think let's talk. I've not heard much of your philosophy. I'm assuming, based on the few things you've said already, that all three of us can be in agreement that there needs to be some level of understanding, even though we know parents who say, because I told you so. But then that's how we get the 10-year-olds who don't make it to 12 because they went off the I told you so and they haven't learned. They haven't learned. So make it clear. Help them understand. In fact, by the time they're 10, they should probably be beating you to the punchline to do some of these things, not waiting for you to come and put the toothpaste on the toothbrush. They should already be doing it. They should already be cleaning their room, making up their bed. Not because you're military and yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and you bet. No, I'm 10 years old. I've learned how to wash my balls. I learned how to wash the so-and-so, and I know how to make my bed. So that growing comes through awareness. And that's very, very beneficial. Let me land there because if not, I've landed 5 times. So let me land there and turn it over to you, gentlemen. Let's talk. What do you think?
I think that's crazy. Like we covered a lot. Um, I think a lot of it comes down to the way people parent their kids, and I think you touched a little bit about that about people because I know even in the comment section, people talk about courses they took before they had kids and stuff. I'm gonna count myself as an exception, just off of the conversation that I think that's been had tonight by the way that I was raised. Because in my household, I had brothers and I had a brother and I had two sisters, and we grew up in a very Christian household. My dad was a pastor, and the way I understood stuff, and this is why I give kids a lot more credit than I see other people. At the age of 10, they know what they're doing. That's how I look at it. At 10 years old, they know what they're doing. I've seen babies at the age of 2 get a mama's phone, cry, cry, cry. She hand them the phone, and they go straight to YouTube and go to Mickey Mouse's Playhouse. So I give kids a lot more credit than I think other people do. But the way I was raised in my household was when you show exemplary actions, you got rewarded for it. And when you met the bare minimum, you got punished for it. So I've always been, in the way I'm going to raise my kids myself. Like I said before, I'm going to tell you something, don't do it. And then after that, we're going to go to the next step. But I learned a lot in my life by what was around me. And I guess I was lucky to have a brother and a sister around me to see their mess ups so I wouldn't do what they did. But I give these kids a lot more credit. And I think a lot of parents nowadays, especially with a lot of our kids growing up in single parent households and they're only being raised by one parent and that parent has to work and they don't really have time to actually parent the kids. I believe these kids just get away with what they can get away with. But I don't shed any light on them. I don't treat them any different than how the world's going to treat them. I'm actually try to make my house hell compared to the world, because when you go out into the world and you're ignorant of what you're doing, they don't care. And especially if any of us on this panel have kids and they're ignorant of doing something and they go out into the world, we already know we're going to catch it harder than anybody else. So I'm going to raise my kid harder than probably other people. I believe in corporal punishment because I know not to touch fire because it hurt. So if you do something after I've given you that first consequence of talking to you, like you said, I'm gonna whoop your ass. And the way my dad used to do it is however old you are. Hold your hand out. You got to take these licks in your hand. He wasn't grabbing cords, because I hear people always talk about my mama grabbed the extension cord and tore my butt up. I'm not doing none of that. Not beating you with pots and pans or anything that's within range of me grabbing. But I believe these kids learn through pain. I believe everybody learns through pain. I think everybody learns through consequence, because if something is bad enough, you're eventually going to stop doing it, or you're going to crash out. That's just my life experience. But I am military. I might be jar-headed, all that nonsense. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
think I was gonna say now make it quick. Some people who use corporal punishment is awesome if you use it and then can get to the point where it's just a look, right? So you know what age, 4 or 5, where you don't even have to.
Talking about that granddad look.
Yeah.
My granddad used to scare the crap out of me. Like,
Yeah,
stop playing.
Right. And I know that can feel hurtful and scary and all that, but I'm saying one of the ways of managing like how much corporal punishment we use, because I'm for it and against it. I mean, I'm for it, and then there are times when I'm like, it's not necessary. There's sport teams out there where the coaches just, hey, you guys, we really should win, and then they go out there and smash the conference, and then other coaches out there grab you and beat you and all that, and they smash the conference. So I think both ways work. It just depends on how you motivate a person, how you motivate a kid, how you encourage them, motivate them, support them, lift them, blah, 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 and hold them accountable and based on what they see. Thus,
I'm just gonna say this, and it's not criticism when I say some of the stuff, and I ain't never been no parent. And some of the very stuff that I may speak, I'm still in a learning process, even though I'm not a parent, none of that. So sometimes even dust is my actual learning process. But with corporal punishment and some of the things, I'm finding that they cause more damage. That's a deeper talk. But in my 20s, like I was military, I was college, I was an education major. Education, I thought, yeah, you got to be stern, be strong, get them kids. And everything in education was opposite. And I couldn't process it. Then I actually became a teacher at 30. And I thought that the strongest, toughest, biggest, strongest was going to be to have a classroom in order. Wrong.
Mm.
Teacher of the year, Miss Adams, 5th grade teacher. We only had 21, 22 students in 4th grade. 5th grade, I had 28, 29, 30 in the classroom. You walk in the classroom, it was silent. She never wrote up people, didn't call parents, none of that. Didn't yell at them, cuss at them, talk crazy, none of that.
She have her boobs out or something, or what?
Nope. She just was an effective leader. She was on top of her game and knew how to manage the kids in the classroom. They came from experience, though she had only been in the game like 10 years.
Mm-hmm. So let me say that again, because I objectified. I went straight to a sexual thing. Did she have her boobs out? And you said no. She what?
Effectively communicated and effectively managed her classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Just that very thing.
Yeah. Totally
just
different show.
She was on top of her game when it came to how to manage the classroom, how to deliver instruction.
Right.
And consequences were way out there in the hallway somewhere, maybe. She wasn't delivering, spinning, and me, I had problems. But then again, I came 2 weeks before school started, was unprepared. I studied secondary education. Primary is way different. So it's already at a downhill and some other stuff. But then I still take fault because my name is on it.
Yeah.
But
so that was a side note for a different show. You don't have to show your body. You don't have to show your body. Sexual objectifying yourself. That's a different show. You don't have to show your body to be an effective leader, so on and so on. I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you, sir.
She was pretty though, but yeah. She was married. But she communicated effectively, had her game in tight, and she was always readily prepared. And my principal always said, she'd always tell all of us, if you don't have a plan for them, they're going to have a plan for you. And it ain't the one that you want. And if I came unprepared, yeah. Did the kids have a plan for me? Yeah. Was it the one I wanted? Nah. No.
Okay.
But
okay. Wow.
That's just why I'm more for taking a lot of the other stuff off the table. And then every leadership book I ever read, John C. Maxwell, all them books, stuff from the 20s, 30s, I've never seen corporal punishment in any chapter, not one time. Never seen consequences. Never seen shaming, blast them, get them, revenge. I never seen any of that. Or neglect, leave them in the. I've never seen it. It's not in there.
Well, I say until some people, they don't. So again, I'm not condoning it, but at the same time, I know it's been effective for some people. And I say for them to get to that level, because I could say, well, damn, Scam, you're at a different level of understanding of, we're talking about a single parent who's trying to blah, 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 blah. And some of them just can talk. Some of them will ignore, and some of them will go straight to swinging. So I think
I don't have any kids. So right now I'm just all talk because I ain't got no kids. I might as well enjoy
do you work a job though, and you deal with other people?
I've been in management and supervision and stuff before, yeah.
So that's interpersonal skills. That's knowing how to work with, just depending on the age. And you got some grown folks who still seem kind of young, right? So I agree that you don't have a kid, so it doesn't seem the same, and it might seem disingenuous that you're talking about. No, dealing with the kid is dealing with the person. Dealing with the kid is dealing with your family, dealing with other family members and people at work. So you have the skill set. You just haven't had a chance to use it on little ones. And to be fair, sometimes with your own is a little different. You could be a nurse, know how to do CPR, and then your kid hit the floor, and you just like, whoa, certain things is just like it just doesn't work for your kid. So anyway, let me do this. Let me get Lou Medic's comments. I sent in the back chat to see if you have a link, sir. If you have a link, if you let me know how, let's talk so I can make sure I announce that and we can get some support over to you. Lou Medic, I'm gonna get your comment in a second, then we're gonna wrap up here with final thoughts. Let me go back to Mrs. She Said, I want to sponsor. I think they do half-an-hour sessions or 1 hour sessions. I would like to sponsor 2 half-an-hour sessions. So that means 2 people, or if they work it out, it's up to them with 1. I'd like to sponsor one of their coaching and mentoring sessions. If you are interested in some of the things that Mrs. She Said was talking about here in the chat, you'd like to learn more about it and how to do it, how to effectively do it, you can do it through online, through Zoom or whatever, or FaceTime. Or if you live out on their side of the region, you can see them live. I would like to sponsor one of their sessions, 2 of them for a half an hour, like a consult. So I believe is at least a $200 value call, valued at least $200. Okay, I want to sponsor 2 people, because sometimes people say, I didn't have it, I don't know if I can. And that's the going rate. So I'm not elevating, I'm not escalating. Like, God damn, what are they? That is the going rate. Just Google and see what it is to have coaching services. So I want to sponsor 2 sessions, or 1 person for the full hour. I'm going to ask that the missus puts in a link, a special link. You can either put it here if you don't mind, put it here in the live chat, or after. And that special link will be for the person who you get to first interview. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm saying I would like to sponsor someone who you first believe that they're real. They're not just picking your brain like, quick question. Someone who you believe you've assessed, you've interviewed, and you feel like, okay, they're really taking this serious, and leave it totally up to you. And I'd like to sponsor 2. We'll talk more about that offline. But if you are here and you're a parent and you liked anything that we had to say up here on the panel, between learning how to be less corporal or incorporate corporal, but first even dealing with how you parent, how you are as a person, how to be responsible, look at what shame really is. You might be doing some really good parenting, but been accused of shaming. Or you might just be doing some foul shit that's really shaming and shameful. But know the difference. All right. Let's have some final thoughts. Anything you want. I won't add any 2 cents to it. I talk a lot. This is a good conversation for me about this parenting stuff. So whoever wants to go with Lou. No. My bad. Oh, I'm horrible. Let me get Lou's comments. And let's talk again. Thanks for your patience, man. Most people know how I am up here, so thanks for your patience. Where's Lou's comments? Lou, where'd you go? And thank you for your support, Lou, as well. Much appreciated. All right, Lou said that he remembers taking free parenting, diaper changing, and conflict classes as a first-time parent. I thought it was normal to take them. Not enough people take that initiative. Once you wear that badge, put that hat on, once you have sex, you can say, well, we were only fucking, or we were only having sex. Okay, I got it. You were only having sex. You didn't plan to have a baby. Once you realize you now have that role, what are you doing to prepare yourself? Those classes were free. There are plenty of free opportunities out there for you to learn how to. Some of you observe. That's why I miss the big mamas and the families that you can actually watch the grandparents do it and the older cousin do it, and blah, blah, blah. Those, I don't know how many of those are still around, but do what you need to do to prepare yourself. Same way you go out there and shop for those $200 pair of Nikes for a 1-year-old child, $200 pair of Nikes for a 1-year-old child that won't even remember that they had them. The same way you go out there and search and find them. Let's get the rare edition. Where is it? The same way you can search for the rare edition, you can search for learning how to change a diaper and how to parent. So, thoughts, gentlemen, thoughts.
You can go ahead.
I was gonna give it to you, man.
I'll try to keep it quick. Scam Likely Show is back. It's
actually.
What's
the link? What's the? Put in the when you're done. Please put in the link.
Yeah, I'll drop it in there. Surprisingly, as much dust and ragdoll reckless trolling y'all see me doing, it's actually a dust-free panel. Because I feel like there's some conversations that just need to be had, and just some information needs to be shared. Beat up on each other all day, and I participated. I can't lie. I'm a reckless beast, troll, animal. But, I mean, hey, people need to laugh. People need to have some fun. Look at these people. They're miserable. My God. But there's some conversations that need to be had. There's some topics that's not covered. But at the end of the day, we all want to get better, or at least I hope we do. I usually say the same things all the time. Take care of your physical health, your body. It is what you are. What you eat and what you do, it becomes what you actually are. And we need some of y'all to actually be here for the next 10, 15 years, not carrying around an oxygen tank.
Mm.
Your mental health affects your physical health affects your mental health. Look in the mirror and make sure there's somebody that you like. Work on your confidence. Work on being optimistic. There's a lot of negativity and just people just tearing themselves down before they go out to tear someone else down. So we're talking about a lot of hurt, damage, trauma, just people just hurting. But work on yourself. Then work on your communication skills so you can actually influence the person to the left or to your right. Active listening is hurting. People really do need to be heard. But this is just the basic level so we can actually go out and change the world. Otherwise, I got to do more trolling. And come on now. But no, also people do need a good laugh. It doesn't hurt. But show is coming back. Love this conversation, Dr. Dacumbe, because I actually do like learning. I like hearing the other outside perspective because we got blind spots, everybody. Everybody was not taught, and there is no actual system. Half the systems that we grew up in were defective or a failure. Even this fake traditional whatever, it's a lie. It had dark holes and it was survival mode on steroids. So anybody with information, share information, we can help make each other better people. That's all I got. Dust and crust.
Always an honor, sir. Always an honor. Appreciate you.
Well, I enjoyed the conversation. I really came up because I thought Scam likely was up here trolling again, so I wanted to say something to him. But I saw that y'all were having a little bit more in-depth conversation. There are things that I disagree with just by the way that I was raised, but it is what it is because everybody's different. That's the beautiful thing about the world we live in. Everybody has different upbringings. Everybody has different backgrounds. And everything isn't going to be true for everybody. One thing I am set on though, there are certain things that I have seen in my lifetime and I've seen throughout history that does work. So I'm more of keeping the things that work and changing the things that don't. But when it comes to your kids, I'm telling all y'all parents, stop having them if you ain't ready to raise them. Because a lot of y'all are out here having kids that are growing up in a pretty much a hell on earth. And then we're surprised when they don't know how to operate in this world. They don't have the basic functions. So for when people sit up here and say that these 10-year-olds are not comprehending, that's the world that I'm talking about. Because when I was growing up, a 10-year-old knew exactly what he was doing. So if we have that problem right now, we need to be better as parents. We need to be better as people individually and start making more conscious decisions. Men have some dick discipline. Women stop being free. And that's all I got, man. Like, we just got to be better as people, man.
Absolutely. Always an honor, sir. Greatly appreciate the opportunity to share in this space with you. I'm glad you came up. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Information man is in the house. Oh, and Lady Navoa, thank you for dropping the link for Let's Talk. Scam, please don't forget to drop your link. Let me close with this. Information man's in the house. Salute to you, brother. Peace. Welcome. A few things. Radical acceptance. Some things, it is what it is. Radical acceptance is a skill to learn. You're gonna get your feelings hurt naturally, doing nothing. Do you know if you got shipped to an island as a baby, put on the island as a baby, and was taught nothing, no magazines, no social media, no phones, no nothing? Do you realize one of the times you're gonna get your feelings hurt just simply by being cold? Oh, why am I so not understanding the concepts, but meaning you are bound to age, you are bound to die, and you are bound along the way to get sick and have hurt feelings. Just be prepared. On top of that, I do believe in dick control and all that business. At the same time, most people were just having sex. They were just trying to get some coochie and some love making. They weren't planning on making a baby. You have to understand that's one of the possible consequences. There's that word again. Don't call me no consequence. Positive consequence or negative consequence. There's both natural and man-made. Natural consequence of a tornado tearing up, hurricane tearing up. Those are natural consequences of stuff being ripped up. There's nothing you can do. You can get out there with a camera and a stop sign all you want. It won't work. It's a natural consequence. Then there's man-made, such as jails that our young men are going to. Our 15-year-old boys being charged as adults being put in adult prisons and being handled. You get the point. So that's a man-made consequence. And if you feel that you don't mind your kid going that route, that's up to you. But at some point, teenagers, young adults, men, women, at some point you have to recognize your behavior. You won't always be able to lean back on what the parent did do and didn't do. But it might take the pain of the consequences to outweigh the joy of the behavior. I pray that it doesn't take that long. It's going to take the parents' work, meaning for them to get better first, so they can actually do it from a healthy place. They can do it with a conscious mind. They can do it with awareness. Doesn't mean they're going to be perfect. It doesn't mean the kid won't mess up. But we have to give them a shot somehow. So if you have goals this year, what we're talking about from the show, if you have goals this year to be a better person, as I started with, you won't be better because nothing changes if nothing changes. Shout out to Pastor Sheila. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So talking all that, 24 is the year. If you don't do anything to impact the year or yourself, there's nothing's going to happen. It's going to be 24, 25, and 26, and you'll be the same. You have to change who you are or what you subscribe to or how you act and how you feel and blah, 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 blah. So there are plenty of skill sets. Hit me up and Coach K back here next week. Actually come every time. Hit the like button. Thank you for coming here tonight. Again, you were listening to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Working the channels is CBN, Black Man Unfiltered. Thank you for allowing us to have this space. For those who came here tonight or listening to the replay, thank you so much for your kind appreciation for what we're offering. And if you have any other questions, please hit us up on the I call it the wall, but the replay wall, and we'll respond to your questions, comments. Mrs. She said, if you have a link, and if not, you can send it to me later. We'll put it up, but a link because I want to sponsor 2 people who are serious about doing something this year with their parenting skills. I'm a big fan of what you and Mr. He said offers, so I'd like them to take advantage. Paid, meaning I would like them to invest in themselves. And in case they don't have the resources, I would like to subscribe to those 2 so they can invest in their kids' future, and the 3rd generation after that. Thank you, everyone. Be safe. Have a great night.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute, work hard for the car, so that's why it's all tinted. Wait a minute, had a real late night, woke up with my head spinning out in Nashville. It's been mad real, I need sunglasses, I need Advil. I like fake moves, and my cash real. I like first place, you're in last still. Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle.
Look, pocket rocket in my pocket, please don't make me pop it. All these boys just wanna copy the style, tell them niggas stop it. Whoa, this my destiny, for the like LaToya, like it found me my Beyonce, and she shotgun in the cockpit. Grinding with the team, making C-notes. In my pocket still full of green, call it CeeLo. Alligator watch on me, Tim Tebow. And these haters love to watch me like Tebow. Look, I don't take L's, I just learn a lesson. Before I count the M's, always count my blessings. Look, I'm too short, never second guessing. Got some money, put up for the rain, so I'm never stressing.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles.